This is a 2024 Mercedes-Benz GLE 450e 4MATIC, a new plug-in hybrid trim of GLE, which was updated for their 2024 model year, but still rides on the 4th generation platform that we first saw for the 2020 model year. One thing that's new for 2024 is that every single trim of GLE is hybrid somehow. Most of them are a mild hybrid setup, the 48-volt system with a belt-driven starter generator motor installed, but not this one. This one is very hybrid with a big old battery pack, a big electric motor, and the whole 9 yards. In fact, this goes very EV heavy. It's got an EV driving mode, and when you're in the hybrid driving mode, it's going to emphasize using the electric motor as long as you have some energy stored in the battery pack. So it really does bridge the gap between the standard GLEs and the full electric vehicle EQE SUV. And that's why I really needed to test this one. How good of a bridge is it? Let's find out. I review all kinds of cars, from a $25,000 Ford Maverick to a $425,000 Rolls-Royce Cullinan. I'll happily jump into Honda Accords, BMW M3s, and Porsche 911 GT3s. And I have fun every time. Please subscribe and join me. The base price for a GLE 450e is $70,650. Not cheap. That's more expensive than the standard GLE 350. I'll go ahead and put that price up on the screen for you to see. But my test car is the Pinnacle trim and has a long list of options and goes for $92,380. If you're at all curious, I do have the list of options in the description, and I will go over many of them in just a moment. Speaking of, now seems like a good time to pull over and show you around and inside this car in a bit more detail. For the updated 2024 Mercedes, there is a new bumper for the GLE, but this particular model has the AMG line exterior package, which is $3,150, and that includes body colored wheel archers, AMG wheels, and this star pattern grille right here with this not at all subtle tri-star right in the center. As nice as the front end is to look at, I'm much more curious to see what's under the hood. And there is your plug-in hybrid powertrain. That is a 2-liter inline 4-cylinder engine right there, but of course it does get help from an electric motor, so total horsepower is actually 381 and 479 pound-feet of torque. Those are actually very healthy numbers. Looking at the SUV in profile, you do get a better sense of how big this thing really is. You also get a better look at the diamond white metallic paint, which is a $1,750 optional color. Here is a better look at those body colored wheel arches that I was talking about, and the AMG wheels. Standard wheels on the Mercedes-Benz GLE 450e are 19-inch wheels, but this car is optioned with 21-inch AMG multi-spoke wheels. But it's November in Michigan, so at the moment this car is actually wearing 20-inch AMG wheels. So kind of interesting how one window sticker can run the gamut almost. Here is a closer look at these illuminated brushed aluminum running boards. These are a $650 option. You get 32 cubic feet of storage behind the second row. And yes, if you need more room for storage but don't need to carry people, that is incredibly easy to do, but it's not incredibly easy to do for free. This GLE is optioned with the $1,200 power folding second row seats. Buttons are right here. And there you go. Just like that, you have 75 cubic feet of storage. Check this out. We do have soft closing doors. Those are lovely. Those are not free. They're $550, but it is both the front and the rear doors that are soft close. As you can see, we also have controls on the door to move these seats around. We also have heated seats for the second row. Those are a $500 option. We also have the $860 four-zone climate control system right here. So you can see that we have that on either side. And beneath that, we also have two USB Type-C charge ports right there. We do have even more controls on the front door, heated and ventilated seats, currently showing 96% charge for the 23.3 kilowatt hour battery pack. But when it was at 100% charge, it showed a rating of 51 miles for me. By the way, that is a 12.3-inch widescreen center console touchscreen, and right next to it is another 12.3-inch fully digital instrument cluster, and just above that is a head-up display. Now, the digital instrument cluster and center console touchscreen are standard, but the head-up display is not. That is part of the Pinnacle trim, and the Pinnacle trim includes a lot of things. So what I have is a copy of the window sticker, and I'm just gonna read what the Pinnacle trim offers. It's down here. It's $5,600. You get the Burnmeister sound system, augmented video for navigation, the ventilated front seats, the head-up display, multicolor front seats with massage. Yes, I do have massage. Heated and cooled front cup holders, the Mercedes-Benz user experience assistance, which I can prompt just by saying, "Hey Mercedes,
how may I help you?"
Set the temperature to 68 degrees.
I'm setting the temperature to 68 degrees.
I also have air balance, LED intelligent light system, and Mercedes star pattern logo projectors on the front doors. Yeah, lots of stuff. These seats are also a nice and special leather. That is an extra $1,620. We also have $850 optional wood paneling with these stripes on it right here. It's called black piano lacquer with flowing lines, by the way. Now, the heated seats are actually standard, but going ventilated seats, that's part of the Pinnacle trim, along with the massaging. Another standard feature, we do have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and it is now wireless. We also have lots of controls on the steering wheel on both the left and the right side, and just above that we do have paddle shifters, but those also adjust brake regen right here. There's multiple levels of that. We do have several controls for the first two of the four-zone climate control system, and below that, this is a wireless smartphone charger right here, and a couple of more USB ports right there. Here are my heated and cooled cup holders right there. We do also have a touchpad to play with this control system. Looking up, here we do have a few controls for the lights and an electric privacy panel for the $1,000 panoramic roof. Lovely. And the first half does actually open. Even lovelier. All right, let's talk drive modes. We have a dial down here and we have several drive modes. They are off-road, battery hold, which will maintain your battery life and just run the engine full time. We also have electric, electric only, hybrid, general efficient way to go, sport, and individual. We will spend most of our time in hybrid, but we will play around with the electric mode and the sport mode a little bit too, because why not? And speaking of drive modes, now is as good a time as any. Let's get back to the drive. Real quick, before we get back to the drive, I want to get just a little bit more comfortable. So let me turn on the massaging seats. First, I go to comfort, and then you can see I can choose between massage, seat, and ambient light. So, massage. I think I'll go for a classic massage. Driver, and yeah, definitely intensive. Oh yeah, there we go. And you can see on the screen right here what it's doing, and let me tell you that I am not complaining. All right, let's dig into the powertrain. Where does 381 horsepower and 479 pound-feet of torque come from? Well, it comes from a turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder engine that I showed you under the hood. That makes 248 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. Not bad. But there is also an electric motor that makes 100 kilowatts of power, or 134 horsepower and 325 pound-feet of torque. That is a healthy number. But you can't just add those two numbers together. They make their power at different speeds and they're geared differently, etc., etc. So that's why we get the combined figure that we do. The electric motor gets its energy from a 23.3 kilowatt hour battery pack. That is pretty darn large. And that's the usable size of the battery pack. Usually you get a few percent left aside to just help protect the battery life. So it's probably more like a 26 kilowatt hour battery pack when you think about it holistically. Mercedes says that on a 220 volt charging system, it will recharge from 0 to 100% in 2 hours and 45 minutes, and it can get charged at up to 60 kilowatts on a fast charging system, which would give you 10 to 80% charge in about 20 minutes. The official electric vehicle only driving range for the GLE 450e is 48 miles, but just in my experience having it for a few days, it showed 51 miles of range on a full charge with the driving I was doing. Getting back to the turbocharged 2-liter, that does have a relatively high for a turbo engine, 10-to-1 compression ratio, but it does also ask for premium fuel when you're filling it up. The engine also has a 9-speed automatic transmission to work with to give a nice wide ratio range and plenty of ratios to work with, and all GLEs are all-wheel drive. But not only that, Mercedes claims that the 4MATIC system can deliver up to 100% of the torque to either the front or the rear axle. That's pretty impressive. Usually we'll see a 50-50 split, something like that, but this system can direct all the power where it wants. Quick update, my back is feeling great, and I am currently in the hybrid drive mode right now, and I have the shift paddles set to negative. So if you're in the hybrid or the electric only drive mode, if you play with the shift paddles, that affects the amount of brake regeneration you get. So when you lift off the accelerator, how much does the car decelerate automatically before you touch the physical brakes? And doing so recharges the battery a bit. I'm currently in negative. Negative is the heavier of the two settings. So if I lift off the throttle, I get tenth, maybe in 10th and a half of decel. It is not one pedal driving levels of decel, but it is a healthy amount more than just coasting. There are two other settings. You can get to neutral, which gives a little bit more than coasting, but not by much. So lifting off the throttle right now, yeah, it's basically like slightly aggressive coasting. Or you can go to plus. So I've hit the plus shift paddle twice now, and that basically is coasting. When I lift off the throttle, yeah, no deceleration at all. If you go to the sport driving mode instead, now the engine kicks on full time and the shift paddles play with the transmission. So we're currently in 6th gear, but if I hit the negative shift paddle now, 7th gear, 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd, and I get pretty decent acceleration right off the bat. Now, if you don't play with the shift paddles for several seconds, it'll go back to regular drive, or you can just hit the Prindle again, and that'll put it back in drive. But if you stay in the sport driving mode, the transmission's pretty good to kick down on its own and give pretty darn decent acceleration. This defies having a 2-liter turbocharged engine for such a big SUV. This thing weighs nearly 5,000 pounds, but this powertrain combination is ample to move it around. Okay, but if I instead go to the hybrid driving mode and I floor the accelerator again, it actually is still pretty good to react. That's quicker reaction than I expected. Yeah, good acceleration from the GLE 450e. This thing, because it has the electric torque, which responds so quickly and has good low-end grunt, you get good pull right away. But now let's go to the electric driving mode. I still have plenty of battery life, probably like 3/4 of battery life. So floor the accelerator again. And then there's a bit of a delay, but what happens is the engine kicks on again and you get good acceleration again. So the key difference is you have to wait a couple of seconds for the system to figure out, oh, you want full acceleration. So it kicks the engine on, delivers engine power and the electric power combined. Now, if I'm aggressive with the throttle, but not full kick down with the throttle, let's see what it feels like. Yeah, it's still pretty quick to turn the engine on. So even in the electric driving mode, it will turn the engine on if you ask for heavy acceleration. The electric mode is more for just like simple cruising, and that makes sense. You think about 134 horsepower that the electric motor can provide on its own versus 381 that the system can do combined. It's a big, big difference. And again, this thing is heavy. The other nice thing about this powertrain though is that it is shockingly quiet. I mean, even when that engine is going full bore, it's pretty quiet. It's in the background, and the electric motor is obviously quiet. So yeah. Now, I wouldn't imagine you'd be interested in a car like this because you want to drag race people, but you might want to know what the fuel economy is. It's pretty darn good. You get 58 miles per gallon equivalent combined when you have a full battery, and you get 24 miles to the gallon combined when you have a depleted battery. Considering the size of this thing, that's really pretty respectable. Fuel economy is very important. And again, if you're looking at a plug-in hybrid, it might be very, very important to you. But even then, it's still not nearly as much fun as accelerating. And of course I had to test that. Let me show you right now. All right, everybody, time for an acceleration test. I do have the GLE 450e in the sport driving mode, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, coming to a complete stop. Bit of brake torque. About 2,200 RPM off the brake. Oh, not bad. Oh, good pull. Good quick shifts. Oh, good hustle. Wow. 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 Jeez. This thing has moves. Man, this is a lot faster than I expected. It's bizarre to be in a vehicle this big and hear a 4-cylinder engine revving away. But man, that 325 pound-feet of torque that the electric motor provides at pretty much any RPM really does help give you good pull right at the bottom end. Strong, strong acceleration. This is a Mercedes, and I said earlier on that it does not lack any of the classic Mercedes luxury that you might expect. Well, first of all, I'm still getting a lovely massage right now, and I'm enjoying that. The seat's at a temperature that I'm quite happy with. And the ride is really smooth and fantastic. This is a very comfortable riding SUV, almost supple. But there is one caveat I have to say. We are currently rolling on 20-inch winter tires on my test car. If you do get it optioned with the 21-inch AMG wheel and a non-winter tire, that probably will firm up the ride just a little bit. But in this case, the way it's set up right now, it is incredibly comfortable. We're basically wafting over lumps and bumps in the road, inconsistencies in the pavement, and just kind of like merrily floating along. If anything, for me, it's a little bit too soft. I would appreciate a slightly firmer ride, but for the vast majority of people, I think you will find it really nice and really comfortable. And that's true on roads like this or on the interstate. I did test it there as well. Let me show you that. All right, everybody. Time for a quick stint on the interstate. Check out how this GLE 450e feels on the open road. But real quick before I do that, I wanted to quickly turn on the assistance screen on the instrument cluster so we could see what the car sees. So to do that, I'm looking at the left side of the steering wheel screen. I'm going to hit the home button right here. That pulls up my different options to look at in terms of screens. Scrolling to the assistance, hitting OK. And now I have the assistance screen, so I'll see what the Mercedes sees on the road. All right, let's get to the road. Okay, getting on the interstate now. By the way, I do have it in the hybrid driving mode again, and I also have the $1,950 driver assistance package on this car, so I have a long list of driving aids, hence the need to put the assistance screen on because there's a lot to show you there. I'll go ahead and put the list up on the screen so you can check that out. There's probably going to be 2 pages worth because it's a lot of stuff. Okay, cruise control is set 78 miles an hour to go with traffic. At that speed, the 4-cylinder engine is very, very quiet. If it's even running at all, I'm not certain. Looking at the screen, it's a very, very quiet powertrain nonetheless. And we also have fantastic wind and road isolation. It's very, very quiet in here. And we do also have some traffic coming up. So our assistance screen is starting to show that we have a car coming in front of us. I'll go ahead and show you that right now. As you can see, it can see that there's a car coming and we are getting closer to it, but we haven't slowed down just yet. Now we're starting to. Now, this particular system does have lane change assist, not just lane keep assist. So all I have to do is hit the signal, and if it's easy clearing, it's going to change lanes for me. Ooh, pretty aggressively even. The only thing I have to do is turn the signal off. Now we are going through a subtle curve, so I am going to take my hands off the wheel. It does also do lane keeping as well, so we will stay pretty well centered in the lane. It's not perfect. It's not as good as lane tracing assist that Toyota has on the Toyota and Lexus products that it includes, but it's pretty darn good. But now I'm getting the request to put my hands back on the wheel. Anyway, it's a pretty interesting system, and it's pretty nice that it's not just lane keep, but lane change as well. That is a nice added feature, and I think appropriate for a premium level car, especially at this price point. But again, like I said at the top, what I'm impressed with the most is how quiet this is. This is a very well-behaved powertrain in terms of making noise, and wind and road noise isolation is really, really good. Couple that with all the different luxuries you can get in this car: massaging seats, heated and ventilated seats, all different kinds of charge ports, the nice big screens, etc., etc., etc. Oh yeah, the heated and cooled cup holders. Yeah, this would be a fantastic road trip car. I have no doubts. So, what do I think of this brand new plug-in hybrid powertrain for the 2024 Mercedes-Benz GLE, the 450e? I think this is a very, very pleasant, quiet, comfortable, luxurious SUV. It ticks all the boxes you need to tick for Mercedes luxury. Really soft and supple ride, plenty of luxury appointments, really nice materials in this car, assuming you can afford all the optional extras to get there. And yeah, just an overall very pleasant driving experience. This has fantastic cabin isolation. Wind noise and road noise is really well controlled off in the distance, making this just a calming cabin to be in. Plus, with this big battery pack, you do get very healthy electric only driving range, and as long as you're easy on the throttle, it'll stay electric only, but that engine will kick in pretty regularly if you need to get moving. But it does so smoothly, and even then, it stays pretty quiet. It's pricey. This is not cheap, certainly, but it does feel like you're getting a lot of value for the money. And to be honest, this may be the most tempting choice of all midsize SUVs that Mercedes builds, including the EQE. I'm Robin Warner. Thank you for watching. And if you like this video, please let me know by giving it a thumbs up. Doing so helps me out a lot, and I'd really appreciate it. Also, if you're interested in premium level midsize SUVs, I did recently review the Porsche Cayenne. That was also updated for 2024. Now, that one, they took a different approach. The one I tested was not a plug-in hybrid. It was the Cayenne S, so pretty different there. But Porsche does now have 3 different plug-in hybrid options for the Cayenne. So there actually is fairly apples to apples comparison between this and that. Also, I do have a website now. It is called viewsonvehicles.com, and there I have car news, more reviews, and some opinion pieces, things like that. And I have reviewed a whole bunch of stuff by now. Something will pop up on the screen next to me. Hopefully it is something you're interested in, and if you do end up watching it, I hope you like it. Okay, goodbye for now.